and welcome back to Taylor County, Florida. Today we're here in a place called Poor Spot Cemetery. This cemetery was also once called Prospect Cemetery. Old cemetery here in Taylor County, Florida. A lot of you may have ancestors buried here. There's some early settlers here. I thought we'd take a walk, look at some headstones, see if we can find some historical names, see what we can kind of look up on that. Before we do that, let me just give you kind of a pan of the overall setting of the cemetery that we're about to go through. The cemetery is basically what's left of a hammock situated in the middle of lots of pines, lots of large giant oak trees. Cabbages. You can see some ornamental trees that were planted here. So as you look across it, you can tell that some of the headstones are not as old as others. But then you look over there and you can see some older ones. Generally in most cemeteries, it seems like the oldest headstones are on the highest point. So we're gonna start over here and we're gonna walk through here and look at these, see if we see some historical names that stand out in our local history. If we do, I'll point those out to you. Experience teaches the lesson. Angus Cawthron Jr., U.S. Army, Vietnam, 1941 to 1983. I think we'll do on this side first and then we'll go over and do that side. You can tell people do take care of this, evident by how well it's kept. Impressed with the size of some of these oak trees. You can see we have members of the King family out here. Coincidentally, in the Florida Memory Archives, I was able to find some pictures of the King family we'd just seen. Mitchell G. King, born November 25th, 1838 or 3. Died December 24th, 1908. Andrew J. King, Company G, 61st Alabama Regiment, Confederate States of America. March the 9th, 1844. Born, died February 15th, 1908. Susie, wife of O.S. McIntyre, born September 3rd, 1884, died February 26, 1907. Hadn't been there since 1907. Yes. And I'm sure in a cemetery this old, there's probably some unmarked graves here. Let's see. Bessie Irene. Can't read it. Travis King. You can't read the date. Somebody's fixed that headstone where it was broke. Always good to see people taking care of the cemetery. I got another video on how important cemeteries are and what's happening. You should watch that. So that is John W. I guess that's pronounced Bowdoin, B-O-W-D-O-I-N, born September 11th, 1881, died November 6th, 1890. Gone but not forgotten. That is a king. I can't read the rest of it. See, there's one broke there. Probably a limb or something fell on it. Somebody has put the pieces over, they'll probably fix that. Infant son of, looks like N.R.L. Bowdoin. Making our way back. No, there's a lot of infants' graves, which is not uncommon for that time era. Looks like that says Lula, daughter of, can't read the top part. Bottom says Green. So there's some Greens buried in the cemetery. So we got Bowdoin, I guess I'm pronouncing that right. Some Greens, Kings, got a McIntyre. That's a broke stone. It's bent over. There's a broke one. Olive McAleen, daughter of G.B. and G.R. Brennan. I wonder if that could be the G. Brennan. Part of that family lived on Thomas Mill Run, and part of that family, same part of that family also lived in the Bee Pond Tree community here in Taylor County. The dates on the headstone are about right. So some of them, what would have been their children, I guess. That's just all speculation though. U.F. Green, dad of J.G. and A.K. Green. J.G. Green. (1916). These are all green. An infant from 1916. Infant boy, 1914. Would have been 1 year old, a little over a year and a few days. 1911 died. Barney Green, 1972. Betty Green, 1986. Jackson J. Green, U.S. Army, World War II, April 7th, 1912. Died July 25th, 2000. The daddy didn't have to be. Oh, we got some Millers. 1976, 1968, 1939. Let me give you a little side. We just did these over here and then this strip. We have not done that back there yet. We're going to, but first, we're gonna do this front corner where you're coming in. Mathis, 1949 and 1966. Alberta E, 2016, 2002, and then there's a James Z grain, U.S. Navy, October 24th, 1951 to December 28th, 2016, USS Enterprise. This is a picture of that ship. I couldn't help but look that up to think that Mr. Green had served on this ship. That's pretty cool. W.T. Green, buried in 1930. W.D. Green, buried in 1921. Cuthbert Thomas Green, SFC, Sergeant First Class, U.S. Army, World War II, buried in 1978. James Wiley Green, buried in 1919, in memory. Clayton Lamar Green, in memory, 1920. Clayton Octavius Green, in memory, 1929. So let's walk now back here and get these last few and see what we got. You see we got more Brannons here. George W. Brannon, Celia Brannon, W. Marvin Brannon. Infant son of, can't read it all, but last name's Green. See, there's a broke one there. J.A.G. or J.A.J. Green, buried in 1930. Susan S. Green, buried in 1947. That didn't come from 1947. Freddie Miller, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army, buried in 2011. And it's always a good idea when you're on these cemeteries, look out around the edge. Sometimes you'll find some graves that's out away from everything. This is really a tranquil, beautiful spot, especially this time of year. All the underbrush is dead. You're out in the middle of the wood, little swamp right there. All right, we got some Coxes. Thomas Clem Cox, 1976. That has some kind of glass pressed in it. I thought it was just broke on it, but it's not. It's pressed in it. It looks like they tried to write something in it. You can't tell what it says, but you can see impressions. It ain't just wear. Father James Andrew Cox, buried in 1952. Theodore Cox, 1959. Getting any letters left in that. Otto Cox, buried in 1983. We got a pretty neat something out here at the foot of here. Woods Rider. Must have been a nickname or something. Before we finish going that way, we're gonna go right over here and look. There's a few here. Theodore A. Cox, 1974. So we know we got Coxes, Millers, McIntyres, Greens, infant son, no, infant Charles M. Spears, 1952. So we got a Spears here. Orlando Barber, 1972. Gertrude Barber, 1939. Laura Barber, 1948. Ivy Barber, 1938. We got some McGuire. And best as I can tell, that's pretty much it. We'll walk around the outskirts here and take a little look while we're here. It's peaceful out here this time of year. And just in case you're wondering, it's right here at the end of March, last week of March. We're going into April 2021. When you turn in off of 98, you'll come through expanses of pines. This is timber harvesting area. Has been for some years now. Both sides of the road are private. You can't get off the road. Just stay on the main road when you're coming in the poor spot. Take time, look around, might see a deer, hog, something like that. Turkey, squirrel. You can see some swamplands and low-lying areas, flat ponds. It's amazing the impact that the forestry has had on this area. It's provided a lot of money, but it's also done a lot of changing of the land. Some of that affects some of these cemeteries. I have a video on that, on the history and changing from timber industries and different things that's happened to cemeteries and the effect. I suggest you watch that. Pay attention to how lush and green the palmettos are. When we come out, we're gonna look at the other side. Doesn't look the same. One of the things I remember about this area growing up and all over Taylor County was these old flat prairies, flat ponds. They are everywhere. There are gates over most of the side roads with no trespassing signs, but if you see them gates open, don't come through them. You will go to jail. Just stay on the Poor Spot Cemetery Road when you're coming in. That's one big oak tree. What you reckon it has seen in its time? We got to have a picture of that for size comparison. Old low spot. Now this is the area here I was talking about on the way out. If you'll notice, all them cabbage trees are dead and there's no sign of fire. And it's all the way through here on this side. Wonder if they gonna get pine straw out of here in the future, maybe herbiciding them. I mean, a lot of them. A little bit of logging going on there, been happening. times you find you a shady spot by these roads, just pull off and shut your truck off. Get some good footage of animals coming up the green, things like that. I appreciate everybody watching, and if you're from Taylor County especially, I appreciate y'all too. If you got history or you know where some old graves are or different cemeteries or anything like that and you're interested in let's going and doing a video, get with me. We can work that out. I enjoy that kind of thing. It ain't got to be a cemetery, any old home site, whatever. So I'll see y'all on the next video.